Just as I have stated in my recent video, the CEO of Reddit is not backing down. As a matter of fact, he's giving a big middle finger to the protests of some of these subredditors. He is not going to change his tune. He is planting his flag. This is the hill he is willing to die on. And this is based off of all the statements that he has made in the last couple of days, a recent blog post made on the Reddit company's website. This protest is going to continue, so it's going to be a matter of attrition. Who's going to give in first? At this point, I don't think the CEO is going to give up. So let's take a look at a couple of articles here I want to go over. That's going to dive into these details and a little bit more. But before I get into that, if you are new to this channel and you like this type of content, please do me a huge favor. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell. And don't forget to hit that like button if you are enjoying this type of content. All right, let's dive into this. So the first article here, Reddit threatens to remove moderators from subreddits continuing Apollo-related blackouts. So this is a story out of macrumors.com. As some Reddits continue blackouts to protest Reddit's plans to charge high prices for its API, Reddit has informed the moderators of these subreddits that it has plans to replace resistant moderation teams to keep spaces open and accessible to users. So if you still protesting, get your ass out of here. That's pretty much what he's telling everybody. In a comment shared by a subreddit Apple moderator, Aaron613, Reddit cited its moderator code of conduct and said that it has a duty to keep communities relied upon by thousands or even millions of users operational. Mods who do not agree to reopen subreddits that have gone private will be removed. Remember that line right here, because that's going to be kind of contradicted later on. Mods who do not agree to reopen subreddits that have gone private will be removed. If a moderator team unanimously decides to stop moderating, we will invite new active moderators to keep these spaces open and accessible to users. So he's exerting control over the subreddit communities. If there are no consensus, but at least one mod wants to keep the community going, we will respect their decisions and remove those who no longer want to moderate from the mod team. So again, he's kicking the moderators out. He's going to make sure that his communities are going to stay open and damn the protesters. Between Monday and Wednesday of this week, the majority of popular subreddits on the Reddit site participated in a blackout and went private or stopped allowing new posts to be made in order to protest planned API changes that will cause the shutdown of popular third-party Reddit apps like Apollo. Yeah, and in my previous video, I did break down how those API changes would impact Apollo and specifically how much it would cost. It would cost them probably around like $20 million a year when they only make $500,000 a year. So essentially it will shut them out of business. The move was aimed at pushing Reddit to enact fair pricing for developers and to give developers more time to adopt the API changes. But Reddit opted to waive out of the protest rather than make adjustments. As a result, some subreddits such as Apple made the decision to continue to blackout indefinitely, which means millions of Reddit users have no longer have access to those communities. It seems Reddit plans to forcibly end further blackouts by removing entire moderation teams that are participating. So again, he's just going to kick you out. So is you either have to make a decision. Do you want to continue your moderation? I mean, not continue moderation. Do you want to continue the blackout or risk being removed by Reddit at this point? So that's a decision they're going to have to make at this point. On Monday, Reddit CEO Steve Huffman said the blackouts have not caused any significant revenue impact so far, and that while there was a lot of noise and amid the planned 2-day period protest, it would pass. In an interview with The Verge today, Huffman further said that Reddit API was never designed to support third-party apps and that the apps don't add much value to the site. Reddit cited its API for tools, bots, and enhancements to Reddit, according to Huffman. So he's like, he doesn't care about the apps. He doesn't care what's going on with that. He doesn't care. He basically wants all the focus and attention on his site. I mean, I kind of understand that. I mean, this is his baby right now, or he's being the CEO, basically. So he has to do what's best for the company. Huffman confirmed that the blackouts have made no changes to Reddit's API pricing plans. That's our business decision, and we're not undoing that business decision. That's our business decision, and we're not undoing our business decision. So he is not in the position. So he is not at this point going to make any changes. He doesn't care how much it's going to cost. He doesn't care who it's going to hurt, who it's going to shut down. based on his stance right now, he is planting that flag. We are not changing anything. Huffman said in an interview that Reddit will not force communities to reopen. See, here's the contradictory statement. Huffman said that in an interview that Reddit will not force communities to reopen, which contradicts the messaging the moderators are receiving. So it's two different messaging going on. You can't say we're not going to force you to remain open or to open, but in the same breath or in a different sentence say, well, if you don't want to moderate your community, then we want to, and you could participate in this blackout, then we're going to replace you with somebody who wants to moderate and open up the subreddit. So kind of contradictory statement. He's going to have to clear it up, but maybe we know which way he's going to lean. Obviously, at this point. Reddit also just published a blog post with key facts about the API updates in the post. Reddit says the dissent, debate, and discussion are a foundation part of Reddit and that it respects the right of the communities to protest. So long as mods follow the moderator code of conduct, moderator code of conduct is what Reddit is citing and messaging the moderators about the moderation teams being removed from closed communities. Moderators and Reddit users are unhappy with Reddit's decision to charge an unreasonable amount for its API and for the short 30-day timeline that third-party developers have been given to adopt. I think, yeah, so that's really the main key from that I take issue with is I get that you have to charge for this stuff. I'm going to get into this probably just a little bit more later. I get that you need to charge for that. You need to monetize it. That's totally understandable. And I get that you want to make it, but at least give them more of a time frame. 1 month to make some of these changes that will have tremendous financial impact is really not a lot of time for developers to either come up with alternative solutions or to try to figure out a workaround or even negotiate at this point, because we know negotiations can take longer than 30 days at this point. Apollo developer Christian Sedek determined that adopting the API would cost him $20 million per year, leading him to decide to shut down his app on June 30th, a day before Reddit begins charging. As of July 1st, there will be few, if any, third-party apps for viewing Reddit content. So again, they're forcing you to go directly to using Reddit's app or directly to Reddit. No third-party apps at this point. Pushing Reddit users to either the Reddit website or the Reddit app. Yeah, here is the click over here to key facts to understanding Reddit's recent API update. So this is the blog post I referred to that was just put out on the 15th. Just some stats. Again, I will link this down in the description. So if you want to read this in more detail, you can. You want to cover a few things. Like today, there are more than 98% of apps that do not pay and will continue to access the data API for free, so long as the apps are not monetized and are below our published data usage threshold. So that's the threshold that they said that you can do for free. Then once you hit that, then we're going to charge you 24 cents per request, or I think per 1,000. That's what Apollo was stating. Pricing is based on users levels comparable to our own costs. That's an interesting statement because it then in this other article I'm going to go into, it says that the CEO wasn't aware of some things. So let's get into that. I'm not going to go over the rest of this, but again, effective July 1st, 23rd, July 1st, 2023, the rate for third-party apps that require higher usage limits is 24 cents per 1,000 API calls. And that's what Apollo is citing, that's going to cost them $20 million a year. It's going to put them out of business. So back to that one statement, the one line here where based on their charges, this is a different article here. Reddit CEO really wants you to know that he doesn't care about your feedback. Yeah, I think we've established that. Steve Huffman digs in. According to Huffman, the vast majority of users of the API are for tools for bots and enhancements of Reddit. Huffman seemingly believes that third-party apps like Apollo don't offer any enhancement to the experience. Okay, I already did over that. This is just a quote right here. So the vast majority of the users of the API, not third-party apps, the 98% of them make tools, bots, enhancement of Reddit. That's what the API is for, Huffman said. They were never designed to support third-party apps. According to Huffman, he let it exist, and I should take the blame for that because I was the guy arguing for that for a long time. Huffman was supposedly so out of the loop, despite being Reddit CEO and apparently arguing in favor of third-party apps, that he didn't realize the extent that they were profiting off the API. I didn't know, and this is my fault. This is Huffman, the CEO, the extent that they were profiting off our APIs and that these were not charities. That's what he told Verve. So that's really what it really comes down to, that he does not want other people profiting off Reddit or profiting off these APIs. And okay, I get that. I'm okay with him charging the 24 cents per one, the 1,000 calls and the other charges. I'm okay. I would be okay if he had stated that these charges or these calls were forcing our expenditures to go up. He didn't state that, because he would have basically said that, our costs have gone up due to this, and so we got to pass those costs along to, the third party apps. That's not what he said, because if that was the case, we would have seen about that. We would have heard about that in financials. I would have been okay with if he would have came out and said that our costs are getting out of the roof. We need to pass these costs on to somebody else. We can't absorb all these costs right now. But that's not what he said. He just basically doesn't want anybody else to make money off of this. So again, you got to figure out, how do you feel about that? This whole situation doesn't affect me at all. I don't use Reddit. I'm not a mod on Subreddit, so it doesn't affect me at all. I'm not the CEO of Reddit, so I don't have to make that decision. But I can see both sides of the argument, and if I had to lean one way or the other, I think there are some things that he needs to do. He needs to have at least negotiate better costs, because I think that the cost that he's proposing seems exorbitant. It seems like I don't want to say extortion, but it seems like he wants to. No, I take that back. Based on what we've heard recently and some of these recent comments, what he's trying to do, he's trying to price out third-party apps. He doesn't want them to be around, and that's why he's charging that exorbitant amount of 24 cents per 1,000 calls to get rid of them. Because there's no way you can really justify $20 million a year for that. So he wants to get rid of third-party apps, and that so much has said he wants to get rid of it. And so that's the problem that I have, and I think a lot of other users of some of these subreddits have, because his pricing is just ridiculous out of the roof, and he's making some moves that he's going to force force new mods in there. He's going to force the subreddits to stay open. So yeah, and that's pretty much everything from this one. This one here, just very quickly, this is one. Reddit has a Turbo Panda in Blackout. Asks you to vote out protesting mods. So again, if you don't like it, vote him out. And I guess that's kind of more of a democracy. I mean, okay, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This just rehashes the same stuff about the 98%, whatever. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover about this. So this situation is definitely heating up. I don't see an end in sight. I mean, July 1st is a couple of weeks around the corner. So that's when these changes will take effect. And most likely some of these third-party apps will be gone, and you won't be able to use any third-party apps for Reddit. You have to go to their site or use their app directly. So let me know your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are about what's going on with this Reddit blackout. Whose side are you taking? Is it affecting you? So let me know down in the comment section. I really would love to hear your comments and converse with you down there in the comment section. Thank you for taking the time out to watch this video. If you enjoyed this type of content and are new to the site, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and hit that like button as well. Also, if you want to stay up to date with the latest tech news, head over to the website sound30.com, where I curate tech news covering Apple, Samsung, Android, Google, computing, and even more general tech news, all at my website at sound30.com. And until the next video, guys, stay nerdy.